I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Bootz Sports Show. I'm your host, Uncle Bootz, and the NFL Draft is slowly creeping upon us. We have about 3 days left before we find out exactly who the newcomers to the Dallas Cowboys and amongst other teams in the NFL. We'll find out who the new players are. The first thing I want to do before we talk about a little bit of the draft is I'd like to first thank a couple of people that have been influential in the show, and one of them is Dwayne Green. You can follow him at Mossberg, who is he's a diehard Cowboy fan, and sometimes we get into some debates and discussions, and sometimes he gives me a couple ideas as well as Mikey Arama. Mikey O is back in business, so we are now that we got a little of that out of the way, we can get right into some interesting points talking about the Dallas Cowboys. And I brought up a very volatile subject. I brought it on a couple of message boards that I post on, and I brought it to a couple Cowboy fans, and it caused a lot of consternation. So I want to get your views and solicit your information, and you can email bootsports@yahoo, and I can read your email or comment, or you can just under the comment section of YouTube, you can tell me how you feel about it. Don't forget to subscribe and click like as well. You can also follow me on Twitter at Jerry Holman, Jerry_Holman. So anyway, there was a trade in the NFL yesterday between the New York Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa received Darrelle Revis. They gave up some picks, preferably most notably their 13th overall selection, which would in retrospect give the New York Jets pick number 9 and pick 13. So you're probably saying, well, Bootz, why are you telling me about that? Why would I care about that pick? That's why I decided to give this information to you guys and talk about it. I believe that pick does have some ramifications with the Dallas Cowboys. I believe that pick does influence and will influence our draft, possibly our draft philosophy, and it could have some implications with who we draft. And I'll explain why. The New York Jets, for all intents and purposes, have very similar needs in comparison to what the Dallas Cowboys have. They lost 2 interior linemen in free agency, Mike DeVito and Sione Puha, their front line. They also lost a guard, Brandon Moore. So they also lost a Pro Bowl safety in Laron Landry. And yes, they do have other needs. But the Cowboys have safety need. They have needs at defensive line. They also have needs on offensive line. The 2 picks, number 9 and 13, Cowboys have pick 18. Those 2 picks that the Jets have, they could easily select somebody that the Cowboys, or 2 people that the Cowboys covet. So before they were on the board, before that trade was made with Tampa, on all accords, every board, and it probably was true based on the trade, everyone had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting a cornerback. The one from Florida State, big 6 foot tall, 6'1", 210-pound corner. And now that player is no longer probably going to be that top 13 pick now, because the Jets are not going to take they're not going to take a corner at 13. I don't believe. They might at 9, but I don't believe they'll take one at that 13 spot. So could the Jets with their 9th pick take Chance Warmack, or could they take Jonathan Cooper from North Carolina? They sure could. They have a need there. If I'm the Jets, I would contemplate taking both at 9 and 13 if they're still there. Warmack and Cooper. That would end all the debate about their offensive line. That could happen. Will it happen? Probably not. but it's something that could happen. Could they take 13, take Kenny Vaccaro? Absolutely. Could they take a defensive tackle with the first? Could they take Star Lotulelei with that pick? Absolutely they could. So the Jets now with the 9th pick, or they could, with the 13th pick, they can take any pick that they take, which I believe, because they have similar needs, could affect the Dallas Cowboys and who's available at pick 18. My thought process is the Cowboys have to think, based on that trade, they have to at least contemplate moving up in the draft. And I know it's early, there's still a few days left, but my theory is this, and tell me how you feel about it. Once again, you can email bootsports@yahoo.com, or you can fill up the comment section. The Dallas Cowboys were 8-8 last year. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones has been promising Cowboy fans, Tony Romo, DeMarcus Ware, they've been promising us that we're going to get to the promised land, or we're going to be competing. Forget promised land, let's just talk about playoffs, make the playoffs. They haven't been able to do that. Now everybody's projecting now that pick 18, that these Pro Bowl guards are going to fall to us, which I don't believe that, and you shouldn't either if you're smart enough to realize they're talking that Warmack is going to be a 10-time Pro Bowler. He's going to walk in and be a 10-time Pro Bowler, which to me translates to a Hall of Fame career. A borderline, or if you make 10 Pro Bowls, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. So you're telling me that this Hall of Famer is just going to be sitting there at pick 18 for the Cowboys, and everybody knows he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying you can't get a Hall of Famer at pick 18, but everybody doesn't know at pick 18 that guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. No one really knows. I get that. But I'm saying if you're telling me this guy is going to be on tape, this guy's going to walk in and dominate the NFL, and everybody knows it, he will not be there at pick 18 for the Dallas Cowboys. Best believe that. So, with that being said, who can you get at pick 18 that can be an impact player? I don't believe an impact player is there. Can one fall there? Yeah, it can happen. Or do you go get one? Or do you go up and get an impact player? And that's what the Cowboys will need this year to compete not to be competitive game in, game out. This team has Super Bowl aspirations. This team has a deep playoff run. That's their focal point. Sly Williams at 18, some of these names I'm hearing at 18, they're not going to come in and give you a deep playoff run. So all you guys that say we can take a tackle, we can get Sly Williams or Kenny Vaccaro at pick 18. Safety wasn't the reason that this team was 8-8 last year. The offensive line was the reason. The defensive line couldn't stop the run against the Washington Redskins, and you had a rookie 6th-round pick rush for 200 yards on your defense. That was the problem. So, for all the guys that want Kenny Vaccaro at 18, because they feel like we got abused defensively in the secondary, all you guys that want Sly Williams, a guy who didn't even play football till his senior year in high school and barely played in college, listen. We need dynamic players. I believe the Cowboys need another dynamic player to compete. If they don't have that player, or if they wait and see what falls to us, I'm hearing all these guys, I'm on the ranch.com, the insiders.com, and I'm hearing these guys say, oh, well, we'll just sit and wait and let the draft come to us. Don't trade back because we're going to lose don't trade up, we're going to lose a 2nd round pick. I would rather trade back. This team can't afford to trade back. You don't get great players by trading back. We did that in 2000. We did that in 2009. We traded right back, didn't we? We got all those draft picks, and none of them are in the NFL. None of them are on our team. So I don't care about that trading back. I don't get it. This team needs to go up and get a dynamic player like they did with Claiborne. They need to go get Star Lotulelei, get Chance Warmack, get Jonathan Cooper, get Sharif Floyd. That's what this team needs to do. Don't sit around and wait for the draft to come to you, because you're not a B-level or C-level defensive tackle away from winning a championship. But I do believe if you get a Pro Bowl guard or a Hall of Fame guard, somebody that can get the run game going, I think that'll speak volumes for Tony Romo. And that guy's not going to be sitting there at 18. So all you Chance Warmack guys that thinks, whom I love by the way, but if you think this kid's going to be sitting there at 18 and someone's going to get a Hall of Famer that everybody knows about and allow him to go to the Cowboys, then you guys keep dreaming and keep mock drafting. But this team needs to, as it currently stands right now, this team needs to move up. So that's just my thought. It caused a whole lot of spark on a couple of publications that I actually post on. So that being said, I'm going to just segue into the next part of the draft conversation. I just want everybody out there to be on one accord. When Jerry Jones decides to move up, or if he decides to move up on draft day, I don't want anybody to be shocked. You know, and we were last year. I was shocked last year. Never thought we'd go up and get Claiborne last year. Don't know he was even an attainable player based off of what we were looking at in the draft. So this year, it's not going to catch me by surprise because I think they need to go up. So, and it's not a popular opinion. I understand that. Everybody wants to collect draft picks and put the trust in the Cowboy brain trust and let those guys keep picking. I want the sure player. I don't want to rely on the scouts. I know we've had a good couple drafts in the last couple years, but if you look at the track record under Jerry Jones, and I love Jerry, but if you look at his track record, it hasn't been great, man. Hasn't been great. You can't have a draft class from 2 years ago completely off your team and most of them out of the NFL. Come on, man. I mean, there was a while where that draft class, the best guy we had out of that was our kicker, David Beeler, and he was a kickoff specialist. He wasn't even a field kicker. So let's cool out with this. So let's move forward. Most of the guys, just wanted to kind of flirt with you guys with this. Most of you already been watching these mock drafts and been doing the homework and the research and seeing all of the names that have been mentioned with the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of you guys are on it. So I just wanted to quickly touch on some of these draft picks, some of these players that have been the top 5 guys that have been rumored to be the Cowboys pick. And then what I'll do is try to get into how they fit or how they would fit and if they can impact our team. So Kenny Vaccaro, he's a guy who, that's a safety from Texas, who could come in here. I don't think there's a need for him, but I think we could use him. But I wouldn't say we need him. Kenny Vaccaro is a player that can come in here and be a safety and probably start right away, and would probably eliminate Matt Johnson from the contention of starting. Would most likely do that barring injury. He's a guy that would come in here and probably be a decent player. Could help run support absolutely with Barry Church back there in run support covering. Kenny Vaccaro would definitely help out covering in the slot, helping us stay in our base 4-3, which we will be running this year, and maybe we wouldn't have to go to the nickel and take a linebacker off the. And this is important. When teams spread you 3 wides, 4 wides, or let's say 3 wides in this case, and they run the ball like the Giants like to do to us, if you can still stay in your base and you can bring Kenny Vaccaro down and not have to take a linebacker off the field, you know, because they like the draw play. A lot of teams will put you 3 wide and then run the draw because you got 1 less linebacker on the field, and there's not much you can do about it. This team would be a pretty good plan to have a guy who can just come down and then play cover 1 with Barry Church or whatever. So that's just something to think about. Chance Warmack, obvious reasons. If Chance Warmack, which I don't believe he'll be there at 18, but if he is, he'd come in and start at any of the guard positions right away. He's better than Bernardo, and he's better than Livings. Livings probably wouldn't be here. Bernardo's got potential still, so there's hope for him. But he would come in and be a road grinder and would literally change the offensive line if he was available at 18. Jonathan Cook, North Carolina, guard. Same thing as Warmack. I think he plays better. I think he's actually a better player. I think he's more versatile. I think he gets outside. I think he's better in a lot of the perimeter runs. A lot of the I like second level guys, man. I went back and watched the NFC Championship game between Brett Favre and Troy Aikman, and there was one drive One drive, we went to the Super Bowl and won it that year against the Steelers. One drive where the drive started at the 1 yard line. And you guys probably remember this. They handed the ball off to Emmett. Emmett ran for like 20 yards, got us off the 1 yard line. And every single run play, whether Emmett got yards or not, mostly he did against that team. And that team ganged up on Emmett. Guys were getting to the second level, and they weren't the most athletic offensive line. It was Mark Tuinei. It was Larry Allen. You know, it was Eric Williams. I mean, these guys were getting to the second level and third levels of the defense, even on the backside. Like when the run play was going play side, backside, they were still doing. I still saw holes, even though Emmett wasn't running through them. It was just awesome to see something that I haven't seen in a long time. Our running game, we ran the ball down their throats, and that was because of the effective drive blocking that the team was doing. And I haven't seen that in Dallas in a long time. And it made me think, like, maybe this is what Jason Garrett wants to do. You know, get these guards, get these tackles, some of these guys out to the next level. So anyway, that you can do with these guards in the draft. The next guy that's rumored to be a Dallas Cowboy, DJ Fluker. Guard from, offensive tackle from Alabama. Now, he's a physical presence. My feeling on him is he'd come right in and start right away at right tackle. Absolutely. And the only problem I have with Fluker is he is a tremendous. Now listen, his last year, his sophomore year, I thought I predicted he'd be a top 15 player his sophomore year after watching, because to me he had a better sophomore year than his junior year. So he's a dominant run player. He pancakes, he throws, he's angry, he looks goofy. You know, he looks clumsy, but he doesn't play like that. He doesn't. I know you saw him at the combine. Some of you guys seen him doing these drills, and he's shaking all around. He looked kind of goofy, but let me tell you, he don't play like that at all. So, and he don't get pushed. He doesn't get pushed around at all. So that being said, Fluker, tremendous run blocker. Where he struggles, to me, no, not a lot of people are talking about this. You go back and watch the tape of the Michigan game. Not one person said watch Fluker in the Michigan game. Not one person. Everybody talks about the Georgia game. Everybody talks about the Michigan game. And this is a great game to watch if you go back and watch it, because Alabama dominated that game against Michigan. But guess where they didn't? Right tackle. That kid struggled. And that was the only time that I saw them struggle, Alabama. They struggled at right tackle. Fluker couldn't deal with the cross. When they attacked across his face, he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't deal with that. Now, that's something he can work on and get better, because I didn't see that a lot. That is his sophomore year. My point in bringing that up is, just because you add Fluker, that doesn't mean that you're going to be better than Doug Free. And he may be Doug Free. He may actually be Doug Free for the first year, because he's going to struggle blocking the Giants, you know, blocking the Redskins. He's going to struggle. So 2 years from now, we'll be talking a different player. But can you afford to draft a guy that's basically Doug Free, the same guy you got? So that worries me a little bit. And I'm just talking about in pass protection. In pass pro, he struggles. So I'm just that's something to think about. Lastly, Sheldon Richardson, Missouri, defensive tackle. Very, very athletic person who I think is going higher. If people are watching the film that I'm watching on him and watching how quick twitch this guy is, listen, man, I'm not waiting until these guys fall to us. Like the Cowboys did with Dez Bryant. They could have waited and got him. They could have waited and got him. Cowboys said, nah, no way. Baltimore, we got to leapfrog Baltimore. And they took Dez. They took Dez. And that was smart. Now, Baltimore said they were never going to take him, but they're not going to admit that they were going to take him anyway. They were going to take Dez Bryant. But anyway, you got to sometimes go up and get the playmaker. So those 5 names, I just wanted to throw out there. Those names, I don't feel that you might get lucky. If anybody's going to be there, it's going to be Fluker and Richardson. Those 2 players could be there when the Cowboys pick. So, And I like Richardson. I do. I just think he's a better player than pick 18. So, you know, the impact player, and what I started out talking about in the show is the impact player is what this team needs. That's why I think you need to trade up and go get one of the two guards. Trade up and go get one of the two D tackles and Sharif Floyd. You know, go. I really, really, really think this team's going to have to move from 18 in order to improve the position. You draft. Let me ask you guys this: what if you draft Sly Williams and then Jason Hatcher comes in here? He's in shape. He's not hurt, and he can't beat out Jason Hatcher or Sean Leesamore. What if that happens? Then what did you do with your first round pick? I know Sharif Floyd is coming in here and starting. I know, and not just starting, but playing at a very high level. I know if Star Lotulelei comes in here, the D tackle from Utah, I know if he comes in here, he's starting and playing at a productive level, because these players are rare body types. They're rare. They're rare, and I'm talking about how they move, how quick they are, and their size. These guys they're unbelievable to watch. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Another part of this draft, and we all know this, we don't have to guess about this part of the draft, is going to be the running back position. The Cowboys have to do something at the running back position. Okay, DeMarco Murray hasn't been healthy since he's been here. My buddy, Sideline Chatter, you can follow him at Sideline Chatter, has talked about this since we drafted him. And I have to give him credit for that, because when we drafted DeMarco Murray, I thought it was a steal. And he said, listen, that I don't know how healthy this guy's going to be able to be for you, ever. And I thought, you know what? After watching him play, I thought this was. He said, I don't know if he's just one of those guys that's always banged up. Even when he's playing, he's banged up. Even if he's, whatever, he's banged up. So I said, well, we'll see. Well, guess what? He didn't disappoint. I mean, he did disappoint me. He was banged up his rookie year, banged up last year. So for depth purposes, you need a reliable back. That's one of the things us Cowboy fans got spoiled with Emmitt Smith. People talk about how good Emmitt wasn't, how fast Emmitt wasn't, how big or how whatever he wasn't. Emmitt was awesome. His vision and his durability, he was reliable. And when Emmitt got hurt, Emmitt played. Emmitt played. I mean, part of Emmitt, I know I'm going off the line here, but part of Emmitt's, to me, the reason he didn't get hurt is because his vision was so well, because he always knew where the safety was. He was always able to spot, like, he never really got hurt because his vision was so well. Some of these guys don't see the safety barreling down on them, and they're trying to dance in the hole, and then when they get out to the side, boom, they don't see that play. So Emmitt was always good. His vision was always good. It kept him healthy. But that being said, Cowboys are going to be in the mix, in the business, in the running back business. And I would say as early as, I'm going to say as early as the second round, depending on how the talent falls. But I think probably as early as the third round. And I'm going to tell you who I'm not one of these guys, by the way, and I could be wrong. I'm not one of these guys that has Eddie Lacy as the top back in the draft. And I could be wrong. And maybe I will be. Who knows? But I just don't see it. I don't even think he's going in the first round. So, a back that I do think has a first round grade is Giovanni Bernard, from the back from North Carolina. And he's a good player. And I don't know if he'll be there in the second when we pick. But if that guy's there in the second, the Cowboys are going to have to really scratch their head and think about it, because you're not looking for a complimentary back. You're really looking for a back that may complement but can start, can carry the load. So I don't think Giovanni Bernard's going to be there, but if he's there, the Cowboys are going to have to do something. But let's go with the top 5 backs that I think we're going to be looking at, and one of these guys will probably be on the team, and these are my backs. So backs that I deem. So I'm sure you guys have your own lists, and I would love to hear your comments, and I would love to see what you say in your lists and all in mock drafts and what your views are. So please fill up the comment section. But let's do it like this. The Andre Ellington out of Clemson, Stephon Taylor from Stanford. These are all running backs. I love this guy. I don't hear very little talk about him. I think I heard one person mention his name. Mike Gillislee from Florida. I would be ecstatic if that was a Cowboy pick, by the way. I like his run protection. I like how he protects the quarterback, how he blocks in the SEC. Monty Ball. And listen to my Monty Ball pick. This is my Monty Ball pick. Listen to the reason why Monty Ball. Monty Ball does what we haven't had since Emmett. This is like the Emmitt Smith show. Monty Ball scores touchdowns from the running back position. That's huge. Maybe Monty Ball isn't that fast. Maybe he is that. Listen, all I know is the guy scores touchdowns from the running back position, and we need that. So Monty Ball's in play, if you ask me. And last, a favorite, one of my favorites here. I love this Le'Veon Bell kid from Michigan State. Now, the thing I like about Le'Veon is that he kind of looks like Murray but slower. And I like backs where you don't have to change up what they do. Like, I like backs where when you're not tipping your hat, or tipping your hand rather, to what the play is going to be. Like, okay, well, Felix is in there, they're probably going to run an outside play. You know, or Reggie Bush is in there, they're probably going to toss outside or run a screen pass. You know, or the same as the kid Sproles. I don't like when you, this is probably going to be a bounce out play. I don't like that. I like a back where this kid can come in and run the same stuff you run with Murray. Same stuff. Has very good hands. Has very good, he's one of those guys that runs like Murray, where he shows the patience to the hole, and then kind of a choice hole guy, kind of sees what hole is there to the line and then takes off. He's one of them guys. Really good player. I like him a lot. So we're probably going to get a really good second back, and I think the back, when we end up getting him, we're going to think he can start in a couple years. And with the season schedule this Cowboy team has, you know, there's no reason why the Cowboys shouldn't look at this opportunity in the draft to seize. They have to really seize this moment, and they gotta get their player. I don't like wait and hope that something falls to you. I don't like that. It's like the defensive back. You know, when I played a little bit of defensive back, and I was always taught, when the ball is in the air, like an interception, even an easy interception, never stand there waiting for the ball to come to you, because the receiver or the other player around you will go up and get the ball at its arc and then take the ball while you're standing there waiting. I don't want to stand there and wait. I want to go get the player. So that's my stance. Let me know how you feel about the Cowboys trading up and trying to get in that top 13 position in the draft. Let me know how you feel. Guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate all your fans, all your fan support, all your comments. Definitely hit like if you liked it. And like I said, if I would appreciate any comments at the bottom. Subscribe to my page. We got a couple more shows coming up. I'm probably going to do another show tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a mock draft, maybe a mock draft show with a bunch of buddies together. So I got a lot of stuff for you guys. So I hope you guys stay tuned into my channel. I appreciate all your time and effort, guys. I'm out of here.